The room was quiet, not the peaceful kind, the kind that feels unfinished. Ethan sat on the edge of his bed, phone face down beside him, lights off except for the soft glow from the street outside his window. Cars passed occasionally. Somewhere below, a door closed. Life continued, just not here. It had been an ordinary day, work done without excitement, conversations that stayed on the surface, smiles that required effort. Nothing bad happened, and yet, something felt heavy. He checked the time, 10:47 p.m. Too early to sleep, too tired to do anything else. He told himself he'd go to bed, that tomorrow would be another attempt, another routine, another day of fine. His hand hovered over the lamp switch. That's when he heard it, a soft vibration from the phone. Not a call, not urgent, a message. He almost ignored it. Some moments don't announce themselves. They wait quietly, hoping you don't look away. Ethan picked up the phone. It was from an old friend, someone he hadn't spoken to in years. No explanation, no long text, just one line. "Are you still awake?" He stared at it longer than necessary. Life had taught him to be careful with late-night messages. They often carried memories, or questions you weren't ready to answer. He thought about replying tomorrow, about choosing sleep, about choosing nothing. Instead, he typed, "Yeah." The reply came quickly. "I didn't know who else to text." That sentence landed softly, but it stayed. They talked, slowly, carefully, about where life had taken them, about how it hadn't turned out the way they imagined. No advice was given, no solutions offered, just honesty. Minutes turned into an hour. The clock passed midnight unnoticed. Ethan leaned back against the headboard, realizing something strange. For the first time in a long while, he didn't feel alone in the quiet. The room hadn't changed. The problems were still there. Tomorrow was still waiting, but something inside him had shifted. Not dramatically, not loudly, just enough. Eventually, the conversation faded. Before signing off, the friend sent one last message. "Thanks for answering." Ethan placed the phone down gently this time. He didn't rush to sleep. He didn't overthink what it meant. He just sat there, breathing, letting the silence exist without fighting it. Some nights don't change your life forever. They don't fix everything. They don't bring clarity. They simply remind you that connection still exists, that being present matters, that showing up, even quietly, counts. Ethan finally turned off the light, and as the room went dark, he realized something simple yet powerful. He almost went to bed early that night, and almost missed the moment that reminded him he was still human. Ethan lay back, staring at the ceiling. The room felt different now, not brighter, not happier, just more honest. The kind of honesty that doesn't rush to explain itself. Outside, a car passed slowly, headlights brushing across the wall for half a second before disappearing. Somewhere far away, a siren echoed, faint and tired, like the city itself was trying to stay awake a little longer. Ethan wondered when life had started to feel like this. Not broken, just quiet in the wrong places. He remembered being younger, when nights felt full of possibility, when staying up late meant dreaming, planning, believing. Back then, silence felt exciting. Now it felt heavy. He sat up and swung his feet to the floor, letting them rest on the cold wood. The chill grounded him, reminded him he was still here, still present. He walked to the window. Below, the street glowed softly under orange lights. A couple crossed the road without speaking. A man walked his dog. Somewhere, someone laughed. Brief, careless, then gone. Life wasn't paused. Only his thoughts were. Ethan realized how many evenings he had rushed through lately. How often he chose sleep just to avoid thinking. How many moments he had skipped because they felt too small to matter. But tonight had been small too. And yet, it stayed. He replayed the conversation in his mind. Not the words exactly, but the feeling, the pauses, the moments where neither of them typed anything. Yet both stayed. There was comfort in that. He asked himself a question he hadn't asked in a long time. When was the last time I let someone really see me? Not the version that functioned, Not the version that smiled politely, but the version that sat quietly in the dark, unsure, unfinished. The answer didn't come easily, so he let the question sit. He returned to the bed, phone still where he left it. He picked it up again, scrolling back through the messages, not to reread, but to confirm something. It had happened. It was real. Sometimes we need proof that moments mattered. He noticed the time, 1:13 a.m. Tomorrow would come quickly. Responsibilities would return, emails, expectations, the careful structure of a life that looked fine from the outside. But tonight still belonged to him. He opened his notes app and stared at the blank screen. He didn't plan to write anything meaningful. No goals, no resolutions. Just one sentence. I answered. He paused, then added another. And it mattered. That was enough. He set the phone aside again, this time with intention. He lay down, pulling the blanket up, listening to his own breathing slow. The silence returned, but it wasn't empty anymore. It held something gentle, a reminder that showing up doesn't always look dramatic, that courage doesn't always speak loudly, that sometimes the most important choice of the day is staying awake when it would be easier not to. Ethan thought about all the nights he had written off as forgettable, all the moments he assumed didn't count. He wondered how many quiet turning points he had already lived through without realizing it, and how many were still ahead, waiting patiently. Sleep finally came, not suddenly, but softly, like the room itself was giving him permission to rest. When morning arrived, it didn't feel miraculous. The alarm still sounded too early. The sky was still gray. The world hadn't changed, but Ethan had, just a little. He noticed things he usually ignored. The warmth of the shower, the weight of his mug, the way sunlight crept slowly across the kitchen wall. Small things, ordinary things. He didn't feel motivated. He felt awake. Later that day, during a quiet moment between tasks, his phone buzzed again. A new message, from the same name. This time it said, "I slept better knowing someone was there." Ethan didn't smile. He breathed. And in that breath, he understood something he had spent years overlooking. We don't always change our lives in big, visible ways. Sometimes we change them by answering, by listening, by choosing presence over comfort. That night didn't solve anything. It didn't rewrite his story, but it reminded him he was still part of it. And sometimes, that's enough to begin again.
If this story stayed with you, maybe this quiet evening mattered too. Thank you for spending these moments with Quiet Evenings. If you enjoy stories that don't shout, but stay, consider subscribing. More quiet nights are waiting.